All right, here we go again. We're going to be talking about some great stuff today. So, welcome to SEO Sundays, Search Engine Optimization Sundays. And today's context is about Pinterest versus Meta ads for businesses. This is a juicy one because we all, run a business. We all do business. We all connect. We all do a lot of things, right? And we all want to make sure that we're on the same page. So this is those kind of rooms that I think it will be good for us to talk a bit about some things and also help you understand how you can begin to see some things in a different way that would also help you, take more action in doing the things that you need to do so that as a business you can really get to the bottom of the problem. So today we're going to solve that problem and we're going to look at it from a very realistic point of view. So welcome to room, Nyla, Martina, Rishi, Adrienne, Quinette, and Oswald. Thank you for being here. We're going to talk about something really important. And as we're going to do that, I'm going to have a link at the top. And that link is going to take you to a quiz. It's a 5 multiple choice quiz, and it allows you to know what's blocking you from achieving digital marketing success. And as we do that in today's room, I'm going to be getting other people in here. So it's going to be a great time. We'll be talking about this for about an hour. So the replays are on. So if you want to get more information, you can also fill this quiz, leave your contact information, and that will allow you to get more insights on how you can break out from that block. Because it's not just about finishing a quiz, it's about realizing what the problem is and then identifying the solution on how you can solve it in a faster way than doing it by yourself. So it's going to be a great topic. And I'm just sharing out the room. Please share the room too on your side. If you want to ping your friends in, please bring them in. It's going to be a good topic. And I'm excited that we'll be, focusing on Pinterest and meta ads. When I was actually doing this title, I thought about it. And what I was thinking about specifically was how am I going to talk about this topic without being, too much. And I thought about it and I said, okay, let me do Pinterest versus Instagram ads. And then I was like, no, let me do Pinterest versus Meta ads because some people run ads on Facebook. And if you're running ads on Facebook and Instagram, that's Meta. And if you're running on either or, that's still Meta. So I wanted to find a way to, at least let us get some information and help you see some things a little bit differently from what you're seeing. Welcome, Austin. No worries. The topic today is going to really help you see how Pinterest works and how meta ads work. Which one is better? Why are they even being compared? Now, Pinterest is a spatial place and it's also a special place. It's spatial because there's a lot of depth of field when it comes to interest, behavior, and action taking. Because when you go to Pinterest, you go to Pinterest to plan. So when you're planning on Pinterest, the plans that you're making on Pinterest are allowing you to become very specific in your result. Like, what exactly are you looking for, right? What is the goal that you want to achieve as a business that will get you into a position of authority when you want to explain or talk about something that you do, right? And when you do these things on presence, you also get results, which lead to connections, right? And these are potential places that your business can thrive in because when you're thinking about using Pinterest or Meta ads for your business, you're technically saying that you want to bring your business. Actually, let me put it this way: you want to create brand awareness for your product within a community of people who haven't yet experienced your product because you don't have your profile connected, attached, or created. So once you create your profile, you start beefing up your profile, you start telling people about your profile, then you start connecting with you on those profiles. That's where people connect with you. So if I say connect to me on LinkedIn, it's because I'm spending time on LinkedIn communicating. If I'm spending time on threads and I'm saying let's connect on threads, it's because I'm communicating on threads. So if I say let's meet up on Clubhouse, it's because we're communicating here on Clubhouse. So when we connect on platforms, we're connecting with the intention of growing and also knowing. Those are two major things: growing and knowing. Growing because we are growing. That's something we can't stop doing. We have to keep growing, right? You are not the same age you were yesterday or last week because you're older by a week, you're older by a month, you're older by a day, right? So when you're growing with knowledge. When you were 7 years old, there are different things you knew then than when you were 17, right? And then when you were 27, right? So on and so forth, right? So when you grow, you're growing with knowledge because the experiences you're having in those years equipping you with information that you can use later on in life, right? So when you're spending time on a platform as a business, that community that you're serving is within that space. If they're on TikTok, if they're on Instagram, if they're on LinkedIn, if they're on Clubhouse. Imagine if I didn't have a room here on Clubhouse or I didn't do a room here at all. Where would you find my content? Where would you go? Let's actually ask that question. Let's see, because I use a lot of time here on the app, so I would like to even hear that feedback as well. Hey, Soda, welcome to the room and happy Sunday. How are you?
I'm doing all right. My little one is at the doctor's office, so hopefully she'll get the medicine she needs. So sending healing vibes out to her. But yeah, I'm glad you had this room and I was able to join, and I'm excited about this subject. And I think the only other place I see you besides Clubhouse is Threads, and so I think that's the place that I would follow you the most.
Okay, that's a good feedback loop. Thank you for that, Soda, because we do communicate on Threads, and you see my content on Threads when we're off Clubhouse. Some people would see Instagram. Some people may say LinkedIn. Some people may say TikTok. So I think when you look at the long term effect on that, it also lets you know like what brands you also associate with. I was driving today and I was thinking like it was a random thought, and I was like, huh, why is this thought even coming to mind? No problem hidden. And I was like, this is a little bit strange, but it makes total sense. I was thinking about a subdomain from nowhere. I was like, subdomains. Okay. The value of a subdomain, right? If I put my business name dot a brand name dot com, like for example, if it would be like workandplay dot myflowdesk dot com slash flowdesk or slash workshops, right? It changes. So if I say the same thing as, work and play entertainment on myflowdesk.com slash workshops, then another one has a slash something else, another one has another slash something else. It starts to grow. And then before you know it, your brand starts to pick up within the algorithms. Hey, Renee, welcome to the room. And D, glad to have you here. Jay and Shah, too. Those are big places because if you have your name, people are going to read those URLs. Sometimes when we think about URLs, we don't think about people reading them. Sometimes people read through those URLs. Like if I wanted to know a story and I'm reading the URL of that link, it's a uniform resource locator. So it's locating information on a file. and that file is a web page, right? So I'm looking at that URL, and that URL is telling me a little bit about what I'm about to get into. And it's a great way, to connect, to build. Welcome, Kalia, to build, right? A great way to connect, to build, because you're building on great soil, right? And that soil you're planting content in is a place that people can find you years from now, right? People put their stuff on Pinterest because they want to come back 10 years later to find that same pin, right? It's like you're putting it in storage, right? You're storing files online to refer back to them. Even though you're sharing it to the public, you're also sharing it for private use, or you're sharing it for internal use, or you're sharing it for analytical use. So it's like it's shared media. It's for you, it's for me. I'm sharing it on my profile, you can watch it on my profile. It's shared, right? Even if it's owned media, I'm owning it, but I can share it with you on social media. So there has to be a balance. So I definitely see where you're saying that too. And Austin said LinkedIn. I'm not active on Threads, but notice Favor is. Yeah, I am active on Threads. I'm active on LinkedIn. I joined Threads when they were like the first 500,000 people, like early day. I think it was 336 or something like that thousand. Early days when it first jumped in, and everyone's like, Threads it's not gonna jump, it's not gonna fly. I was like, this is a meta app. This is a meta product. So I know they didn't just build Threads to drop it. I know there's gonna be something about it. So, and there's the Fediverse. I don't even want to go there. It's a whole thing because there's Oculus, there's WhatsApp, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's Threads. Like, if you really think about the products and the communities, it's a big one because I didn't say Facebook ads or Instagram ads. I said meta ads because I wanted to focus on business to business. So yeah, if I'm on LinkedIn, I spend time on LinkedIn because I'm connected on LinkedIn. Today, for one random reason, I was in church and then I look down, I check my phone, I see a notification come in. Somebody didn't even say good morning, did not say anything. She just went right into it. Boom. Hey, um, I heard I was recommended to you by this person's name, and I would like to interview you on our show to talk about SEO for ChatGPT and AI systems. And I would love to connect with you. Here's my link. So I booked a call with her, and they have a really huge show. They have a podcast. I checked their listen notes and their top 5% in their area when it comes to sales and businesses. And I was like, this, I don't even know. And this LinkedIn account has, I think it's either 34 or 64,000 followers. So I don't know who she is, but she sent a message to me. Boom, here, schedule. See you soon. Like, we don't even nothing. It's straight business. So now when we get on that call, only God knows what's going to happen after that call. That's another person I can talk to, that I can connect with and extend. So when I was saying the two things you have to think about is growing and knowing, it's simply that, because when you grow, you're learning, you're taking experiences seriously, you're going on platforms. Now my LinkedIn is about to hit 10,000 followers, and I'm like, what am I going to do with these followers? Like, that's my thinking right now. I'm like, I can't just say, oh yeah, I have those followers. What am I doing with them? Like, it's great to have followers, but if you have followers with no impact, then what's the point? So now I'm thinking, okay, can I serve them better? What am I doing better? How am I showing up more? What are they asking for? And I'm noticing what they're asking for by my impressions, by my analytics. So I'm able to read those signs, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I see what you guys want. I've realized about 32% of my audience on LinkedIn are interested in advertising services. That's why I've been so big on billboard advertising now and zip code marketing, because I realize a lot of businesses are spending money, especially now during the holiday season. They want to spend money on ads, but I don't want you to spend money on ads in the wrong place, right? You filter maybe by the walkway in a place like San Francisco, where you know that people are using bikes or they are walking because that's how they have their mode of transportation. and have a QR code and actually connect with people than just have a billboard because you want to see yourself on a billboard every week. Like there's a difference in communication, there's a difference in clarity of messaging. So when you look at these two platforms, it's like, how do you end up on those platforms? So Pinterest is a great place for businesses. Right now, Apple is going crazy. I said this before. Apple is going crazy on Pinterest right now because of the iPhone 16. They're literally taking every space, every territory is being captured by Apple on Pinterest. Why? Because they know that Pinterest is a platform where people plan financially. Think about what I just said. People go to Pinterest to plan. So people are seeing Apple. They probably don't have the iPhone 16. They're probably planning to order it. They're planning to pre order it. They're planning to buy it. They're planning to use it. They're planning to save. They're planning because they want to be part of that experience. So if Apple is using the whole month on Pinterest to talk to you about it, and they started even before the release, because I remember when they did it, these days when I look at ads, I don't just look at the brand, I look at every single thing, including the timestamp. Because you're paying for every second. You know how they say cost per play or cost per click or pay per view? Every view counts, every frame counts, every second counts. When you see the Super Bowl halftime, those count. Those ads, those 45-second ads, they count because it helps with the conversion, right? So Apple, they did 6 seconds. So if you're spending money on a 6 second clip, 50% of that is 3 seconds. The first 3 seconds within 3 frames, you already know it's Apple because the phone is literally given to you in full blast. And I got to learn this, and I would love to share this with you too, because I've known this for a while, and I'm sure you probably do too. But it's nothing new. I didn't invent this. This is information we all know, right? Welcome, Caroline. It's been a while. Welcome back. When you look at the big picture with Pinterest and with your product, most brands, the reason why, if you look at Rolex, look at car commercials, look at, yeah, watches, jewelry, perfume, clothes, like just look at the way the the camera, like I'm kind of giving you guys like a little lens tonight. When you look at the camera is zoomed in, zoomed in, like it's zoomed on the phone to a point where you can eat the phone, like you can actually taste the phone through the lens, through your screen, right? Because it's giving sharpness, right? So if you're going to use your product and show people your product, zoom all the way in to the point where they can see the fabric or they can see the material of your product, right? Because when you're using ads, people don't have time to look at your product, especially if they don't know your product. You can say, yeah, because everyone knows Apple, that's why but imagine if it's you on that same stage. Can you bring the same impact? Can you drive the same impact? Does your impact allow them to actually go outside to search up your website to learn about what you do? Because those 6 seconds to ask. So Apple used 6 seconds. 50% of 6 seconds is 3 seconds. So they didn't really spend much on ads. Because sometimes when we run ads, we want to run 30-second ads, 50-second ads, 2-minute ads. I'm like, why? Why can't you do 10 seconds and then the rest of that they can watch on YouTube from your website if you redirect them to your webpage after an opt-in through a quiz? Like this, it sounds so complicated, but it's such a great experience because when you run ads, you're also running it as an experience. People run ads, but we don't remember that when we're running ads to people who want to experience a product, who want to find a solution to a problem. right? So if they're going to experience it, they have to experience it in a different way, and it's in a unique way. Hidden asks, what about PBNs, private blog networks? It works really well, but I think it's considered gray hat or some as black hat. Yeah, if you do gray hat or black hat SEO, then that's just, I mean, for me, honestly, I prefer white hat SEO because it's fair play. Everybody has a chance to to try. It's like a golf course. Everybody has a chance to put in the ball. If you miss, you miss. If you score, great. You know, it's a fair play. But I feel like when you start going into gray hat and black hat, I feel like people use more energy than like mental energy, right? And I don't have time for that. So I know that people do those things, but yeah, everyone has their own way. But I think for the general majority of the people, they just want to get people to ask them questions about their product, make an informational piece about making your product known, and then someone can purchase your product and tell the next person. That's how they want it to be. They don't care about the logistics, the statistics, the conditions, the terms of service. They don't care about those things. They care about, are you authentic with your brand? Because anyone can plaster a template from ChatGPT about a privacy policy, right? It's, does that policy speak in real life? And does that help somebody in real life? Can you actually connect with someone in real life and use your product in real life to help someone find a solution to the problem they're looking for in their lives, right? So that's a big question you have to answer. So Pinterest is a great place for that because Pinterest have released new ways of running ads. And one of the best ways, I think, in today's time and in this age, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Anyone in the chat could also put this too. And so I'd love to hear from you too. And good evening. I see you as well, Carolyn. When you run ads, right? What do you want people to do? Like, let's say everyone has 60 seconds of their day to spend with you. What do you want them to do when it hits 30 seconds, Soda?
Sorry, I'm trying to understand the question.
Okay. So everybody that is your target audience is aware about you or they're prepared for you. And you have 60 seconds to tell them about your product. What do you want them to do after they hear the information you've given them?
Probably subscribe to YouTube
Why?
because with YouTube, um, people tend to care a lot about subscriber count when you are wanting to do collabs with them rather than other places. So, yeah.
Hmm. Okay. I'm going to ask you another question, Soda. And this might tackle your first question. Why not use emails and send them to your YouTube through your webpage, then send them directly to YouTube?
Like trying to get them to sign up for a newsletter that will um, promote my YouTube page,
Mm-hmm.
you mean? That's on my to-do list because remember I still have my chronic fear of emails, but I do eventually once I get that set up, I will hire someone else to do it because I have my chronic fear of emails. But yes, that is more logical.
Soda, let me ask you this question. I think it's going to help a lot of people. Would you, hmm, how do I ask this question? Are you more afraid of the unknown than the known?
Uh, I'm afraid of both, but when it comes to emails, I just get anxiety because I think email work, icky, yucky. I'm gonna get an email that I don't want to have to respond to.
Hmm.
So,
Okay, now it makes sense why you said you should take them to your YouTube because you don't really want to interact with them. You just want them to consume.
no, I like interacting with them in the comments of my YouTube.
But why can't they? Okay,
YouTube
so
isn't scary. I don't have a I think it's more of a mindset thing that I need to get over with the email because that does make more logical sense to do the email route. I just don't like email and I like interacting more through YouTube and the comments and stuff like that. And so that's where I feel more safe and it feels more real. Because I just get so many spam emails and like I don't know. So I
what if
just
they were
don't like
real?
emails.
What if they were real and not spam?
Well, like I just feel like it's harder to have as much of a conversation through email, like the back and forth thing and the emails get lost easier and for me it just feels very stressful where like having a conversation in the comments of your YouTube or something or some sort of social media is less stressful for me. But yeah, I also understand the email marketing after listening to a lot of your things. Email marketing is a lot more effective. So I probably just need to work on my fear.
Yeah, I would tell you this. If you actually express that fear to your audience and just be vulnerable, tell them how you feel, the responses you'll get back will be so surprising that will make you actually want to be passionate more about the people you're connecting with deeply because email is personal. That's why when you hear emails and things to do with emails, people take them very seriously, right? And email is first party data. You're building a wonderful podcast. You're growing your podcast. When your podcast is growing, the people are also growing with you, right? And those people want to hear from you, not just from your show, but from your letters, from your, Merry Christmas, from your, your notes, because those are things that people enjoy. They want to connect with you. Like this person I was talking about that connected with me on LinkedIn, she asked for my shipping address so that they can, ship something to me just to say thank you. And I'm like, I don't even know who this person is. So imagine if I was fearful in sharing information like this. I don't even think that would even be an opportunity for me to have because that recommendation from somebody on LinkedIn wouldn't have come to me if that person was not on Clubhouse listening to the way I'm talking consistently. So I think it's that ripple effect. That's why people say, like, is this free? The information is free, it's powerful. But when you start seeing the benefits of people connecting with you, referring you, working with you, talking to you, meeting them in person, like just being in real life, building relationships, it goes beyond money because that money can come and go. But that relationship, if it's gone forever. So you don't want to burn bridges or kind of amend band-aids when you could have easily built a bridge without having to think about the fall. So this way of doing it would be different if you think about it because I'm thinking for you so that if you send them to YouTube and they're done watching your 5-minute video, they're going to somebody else's video. But if they were going to your YouTube, but your YouTube was playing on your website, and let's say they found that website on Pinterest, back to the topic, they would see it on Pinterest a year from now and want to interact because if you're telling them 5 ways to do this, ways to find out this versus that, best alternative, you're giving them insights. Eventually, they want to ask you questions because I think what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, Soda, is that the back and forth of emails is so overwhelming that it's good to prioritize it, but it gets to a point where it drags. But if you have an email where you're actually sending messages in broadcast mode from one to many, and then the ones that receive or you get the emails back from actually have a lot of connections, and those are the people you want to connect with because there's open rate, there's click rate, and there's conversion rate with emails. Conversion rate is what is the final action completed after attempted, right? Or after initiated. And then, when you're sending it out knowing that they're going to receive it. So you don't know what they're going to say or think, but the people who will actually take their time to respond back will help, and it shows a lot about your business. And sometimes you don't, like you said, you don't know what they're gonna say. I had one instance when I sent out an email. I don't even know who this person is. He wrote me back This guy had time. I think he woke up and chose violence that day because he literally woke up and he sent me a message. And this guy is a co-founder of a company because I found it on LinkedIn in one state. I can't remember. And he sent me a message saying something to do. I can't remember the name, but the feeling I remember, I can still feel that feeling when I read the email. And it was more so in the context of like saying something to do with me sending him messages that he knows is valuable, but he hates the fact that I'm sending it. It's some weird thing. And he's like, I don't like you, just stop doing this. I don't like this. Get me out of here. I'm like, what? So it got me thinking. I was like, this guy actually took his time to send me that. He could have thought about it, he could have wrote it in a letter, torn up the pages, and forgotten about it. You know, when you get angry, and they say that's what people say, when you get angry, you know, before you send that message, read it and then delete it, because if you send, it's going to be spilt milk, and if you say anything that you can't get back or take back, then that's on you, right? So that's the kind of mentality I would take. So this guy sends me an email. I'm like, you know what, first thing, let me check him on Google. I don't see a profile. I see a LinkedIn. I'm like, okay, this LinkedIn doesn't have an image, like a profile. You know, it doesn't have a profile image. I'm like, this guy must be a troll. So I couldn't really tell, but I could just feel like if you're a professional, you wouldn't even be saying those words or kind of just going. I think he used some profanity at some point. I was like, this guy is really, really crazy. So I told him, you know what? I'm going to save you some time because I like peace, right? I studied peace and conflict too, and communications and media. So I know that when there's arguments or trying to start a fire, I know how to quench that fire before it starts. So I said, you know what? I'm going to give you your time back. What I'll do is I'll remove you from the list, and you can go about your day and don't even respond to this message. No action required. And I sent it. He didn't respond back, gone with the wind, and that's about it. But imagine if I went back and retaliated, like, what's wrong with you? Da-da-da-da-da-da. That energy could have been put into something else. And some people deal with fear, with fight or flight, you know, differently. But I've seen like calmness is the best feeling because you have your four, you know, quotients. You have your IQ, you have your EQ, you have your AQ, and you have your SQ, right? So when you have a mindset that's balanced, even if someone's trying to push you over, you're gonna do something that'll make them mad because you're like, why is this person not getting angry? And they're not getting angry. You are, you know, not them. So it's like a whole thing that is switching. It's like a whole plot twist. So my question to you, Soda, is if you were to take this approach differently and connect with them, is that the reason why the back and forth is what's not making you want to send out emails, or is it because you realize if they receive the email, something could happen?
None of that actually.
Okay.
So I'm realizing it just sparked as you were talking about all this. This is gonna sound silly, but I think the biggest reason I hate email is because it's not aesthetically pleasing. It just looks ugly. And I go into the email app and it just looks ugly and unorganized and there's nothing pretty. And so that's why I like um other, like, I have my YouTube where it has my cute thumbnails and I see things that are pretty and cute and I see people's usernames with their YouTube thing and I see what they're all about if they have a thing, and it just like makes me happy. Where emails, I just am like, ew, ugly, yuck.
You made me crack up here, Soda. You know, I appreciate your honesty because there's some emails that are terrible. I will not deny that. It is so true. There's some emails I've seen. I'm like, did you guys like who's your marketing manager in this? Who's doing this? Because it's so bad. It's so bad that one. if I start to talk about the emails I've seen, I feel like some of the emails I've seen are like 1998 version styles, bit 8-bit images. I've seen some crazy images. I'm like, you guys are promoting an event. There are buttons everywhere. You're using round buttons, square buttons, different colors, text overlays. It's crazy. So I know what you mean, so that when it comes to aesthetics, so now I can solve that problem, because if the problem is, you have to find the root of the problem. So if the problem is the aesthetics, then correct me if I'm wrong, you don't want to send one boring emails and ugly emails, right?
Well, that's half of it.
Oh
The
my
other
god.
half is that the actual app is ugly.
What ad?
The Gmail app, it's ugly. It doesn't have the pretty. I don't know. Maybe if there's a way to customize them and have pretty colors and you know the ways to organize it, but I don't know. But it's just the layout of it is just ugly and boring.
Okay, let me ask, is this the Gmail app or the Gmail inbox layout?
Uh, both of
The
them.
icon? Oh my God. Okay. So so iOS 18 dropped, and I'm sure you've been seeing what's going on with iOS 18. So if you have it on your phone, you can customize your, app icons, so you don't have to see those icons anymore. The colors, you can customize it to your color fit, like your whole thing. So yeah, I think 18.1 is out now. That's what I'm on. So you can use that, and that will solve that problem. That's the first one. Ugh, man. So that is actually interesting. I didn't know this, but I'm glad you're saying it now, because it's allowing me to kind of think about what other people would think
Yeah, because
about
now
email.
you gave me an idea of like I should find an email expert and express because I know I'm not the only one who deals with this, especially as an artist, and maybe they can, you know, talk. Maybe if I talk about this, other artists will also understand, and I could do a whole episode about it, and then at the end, I can invite them to my email newsletter. You are a genius. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, email templates would definitely be the way to go. And the solution for you, I see, is Flowdesk. I know you've heard me talk about it before. Even right now, what you see up here is Flowdesk. And I've been using it for 5 years now, to the point where now we're gonna be, I talked about this before. I finally got to connect with three staff members at Flowdesk. One of them, we're gonna do a podcast. Another one, we're working on an article collaboration to partner up and talk about Flowdesk. And then the third one, I got to know because she's a community manager. And Flowdesk is aesthetically pleasing. And because when you receive those emails, they feel good, they look good, right? The text looks good, it's clean, like it feels like it's fresh. And if you actually, let me put it this way. If you realize that your open rates are low, and a low open rate is anywhere from, I'll be nice, anywhere from 25% down. Because I mean, 25% open rate is great, but if your average competition, or if the people that you're competing against are hitting 50%, 60%, 70%, 80% with tens of thousands of, subscribers, then that's a big sign. So that 25% will not fly. So why I'm saying that is because, hey Tracy, is because you have to look at your emails and know that when people are opening your emails, they feel comfortable. They feel like, oh wow, this is an actual beautiful email. Like, the emails you send, that it looks so nice that people even remember the emails you've sent. There are some emails you send, they're so bad that you want, like Austin is saying, you can't unsee it. Because it's like, what are those? You gotta know exactly what you're doing and how you're communicating with your audience. Because when people see color, when they see font, when they see style, when they see theme, it also shows how you take care of your business, like the colors, the font. If you start using Garamond font with bold italics, at 16 font size, it's gonna look like this is tacky. You wouldn't even make a logo with that font logo. So why use that font style for your text? So it's like the metric factor, like the final factor, that KPI. is going to be determined. Like I can say today is beautiful in three different fonts, and you're going to feel it three different ways because those fonts are expressing a mode. It's expressing something to you. So if you're using Pinterest, for example, with the right font, with the right color, with the right style, then you're going to appeal to the audience that connects with you. So if you have a style and if you love people who like Soda loves bubbly colors and all those things, like maybe 3D images, things that have, anime, things that really, spark someone's thought process. When someone sees that ad, if they love that ad, they're going to resonate with it because not just because of the content, it's because of the context. Content is king and context is queen. So when people spend time on content and that time is actually turning into engagement, it means that the context was achieved, right? The concept was achieved. So if we're creating content for people to conceive, then the conception of that information needs to come from a point of intention. And it has to come from a point of retention too. Because if I run this ad today, tomorrow, the next day, will you remember me in 2 months from now when you need a product that I showed you 2 months before? Like, was it that impactful that I actually left an imprint? Like, I actually left something there. Podcast is great, but if you don't know how to use your podcast with a website attached and you're depending on Apple and Spotify and Buzzsprout and, Libsyn, great. But if you don't have your own website to also gather your own connections, it's vanity, right? So you have to think about these things. You can use all these platforms today, tomorrow, the next day, but if you can't point and say, here is my audience, here are their contacts, here are the things they like, here's what they don't like. If you can't identify those things, then it's going to be hard for you to do a lot. Like these workshops, you're seeing the link up here. Please, if you want to join any workshop, click the link above and choose the workshops that you're interested in. Because what I'm starting to see is, and I started this maybe not too long ago, like maybe 3-4 days ago, and I've already seen about, you know what, I haven't checked in a while. So I'm actually going to check right now. Let me see. I'm going to log in. Give me a second. I want to tell you the real number because last time I checked, it was a different number. Oh, thank God I didn't say the number because I wanted to make sure I got it right. Okay, so I did this about 4 days ago. And on this page you see up here, there are 17 opt-ins. 17. That means 17 people are interested in workshops. Now, out of these 17 people, right, I already know, I'm looking at the segments right now. I know that people want to learn about advertising workshops. They want to learn about Pinterest workshops. They want to learn about email workshops, AI workshops, podcast workshops, and SEO workshops. Now, I'm going to type in workshops because I want to tell you guys something. There we go. Boom. All right. So out of these options, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the ones that you see in this link, the one that has the highest number of actually, damn. Okay, let me go in order. SEO is first, podcast is second, and that's a tie with email. And then AI is next, then advertising, and then Pinterest. Now, that just tells me most people don't really want to get into Pinterest workshops, but the ones that want to get into Pinterest workshops are also interested in the value of Pinterest. And why even Pinterest came along was initially there were four. So my client sent me a message. I sent an email. I blasted it out. And we used to work before. And she comes in between every other 3 months, 6 months, because it's like we do sprints. So she saw the email and she's like, oh, I'm working on this for my business. And she's like, I don't see Pinterest on the list. Are you planning to use Pinterest? I was like, huh. Somebody who needs Pinterest. So I added Pinterest to the list. Now 6 more people want Pinterest. From one person telling me that she needed a Pinterest workshop, now I have 6 people who, additionally, that's 7, interested in Pinterest. So That's feedback. Imagine if I ignored that email or I ignored that message or I ignored what she said. I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. That would be so ignorant of me because I'm here to serve. So if she said she needed that and I gave that and then more people are asking for it, yeah, Tracy, then it tells me that there's a need. That's why I'm on Clubhouse talking about Pinterest right now. And even though Pinterest is the lowest in terms of the most on demand or least demand, it also tells me that if people use Pinterest correctly and these 6 people use it well, they can really do so well with Pinterest that they can actually make their money back faster than the ones who maybe want to use something else. Not because the others are not equal, but because Pinterest has a long term effect. And if somebody is going to use Pinterest, then they're literally going to string along every other thing. If you want to do email workshops, you might not need AI. You might. If I do an AI workshop, you might not need Pinterest. You might not need a podcast. If I do a podcast workshop, you might not need AI. You might not need Pinterest. You might use TikTok instead. So these are things that is based on preference, right? So SEO is first. So I already knew SEO workshops is what people are looking for, how to do SEO better. So I'm like, SEO can't be the only thing. I need to add more. Email marketing is a big thing for me because if you don't know how to send emails to the inbox, then you're gonna miss out on a lot of opportunities that you could be gaining over time. That's why I'm very specific about, getting these things as well and building it. I was looking up and I just looked back down and see some comments in the chat. Let me see what happened. So Austin said, just the corporate email culture experience, especially with Slack or Teams. Not enough simplicity and effectiveness. True. It's all such a big mess and headaches, bloated tech stacks, and too many channels. Yeah, that thing gives me a headache. Like, that's why I have it on mute. Somebody said, Favor, why you always on do not disturb? Because I'm like, that's the point. Like, if you have my contact, you will see somebody calls me Mr. Do Not Disturb because I don't want to be disturbed. I don't want to disturb you either. So why are you disturbing me? So I put it like that. And when I get your message, I get your message. We'll connect. And I'm very quick to respond, you know. And sometimes I may not be quick or as quick if, things are happening, but I'll make sure in the timeline of what I've seen, I'll make sure that it's responded to because it's important to me. I won't just leave it blank. It may come like a day or two late, but I'll make sure it's responded to in a way that it was thought through. I just didn't write it back like, oh, okay, thank you, bye. No, I want to make sure that there's context to that information. So I know what you're saying, Austin. I need to get someone from Florida to come on a live with me. Okay, Soda, that's possible. You got to get on the product though. You got to have the product first so that they don't feel like, you know what I mean? Because if you have Flowdesk, it's connected, you're actually getting opt-ins, it's going to be a great thing. I was talking to someone earlier today and she has amazing tech information. Tech information like how to do business in the tech world. She's a techie. So she's trying to do a boot camp in 2025 and she's building her website. So she's like, Favor, what do I need to do to get people ready for the boot camp in 2025? I said, you know what? Easy. Bingo. Like literally for me, I think on steroids because my mind is just on a creative wave every single time. So I was like, I have an idea. How about you build an email list and have a wait list of the people that are interested in the boot camp and segment them into different categories and know exactly what kind of boot camp they want to be in for 2025. So create the wait list, and then as you're feeding them PDFs, templates, resources, files, audios, podcasts, whatever it is, news updates, community news, those things are going to gear them towards a boot camp in 2025. So it's a good way for you to start funneling people in, but also know exactly what they need, right? I was doing some research and there was a company called Try Interact, great company. And huh, let me just say this right now. I'm looking for that message. Okay, boom. All right. So I got to know this when I was building the quiz. There was a Did You Know segment, and I was very interested. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this so that if this is true, what you think. And anyone in the chat, please, in the audience, put in the chat and let me know. Did you know that people self report that they're more honest when taking quizzes than they are in real life.
Like those little, like the online quizzes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's fascinating to me that people will be more honest with the quiz than they are with themselves in real life. It's it baffles me. Like it's like what? Because it's like
When
anonymous.
you take a quiz,
You
it's
know?
also like, because sometimes you're like, oh, I'm the only one in the world that, you know, does this. I'm just going to pretend I don't do it. But when you see it as an answer, you're like, oh, obviously I'm not the only one that does it. There's other people. Otherwise, it wouldn't be one of the answers to this thing. And it makes you feel more validated and more confident to be honest with yourself when you're doing the quiz. I take a lot of quizzes.
Mm-hmm. And even corporately, people take quizzes, personality types. Oh, I want to know your love language. Or let's do what do they call those tests? Um, there's so the INFJ and the Enneagram
Oh, the
test.
Myers Briggs.
Yeah, there's so many. Weight, BMI tests. People just be checking and trying to figure out, oh, what kind of relationship a lover are you? And then you answer all the questions. Yeah, Austin is like, It's like a womp womp womp. This is like a moment like this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are we doing? These like, yeah, wow, human beings. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. Tracy says the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. That part, you know, there has to be some. It's weird. You're honest on a quiz, like what? How? Because the quiz tells you more about yourself, right? And when you see the results, you're like, that's true. And then you think about your life, your patterns, your behaviors, your thoughts, your actions, your responses, your mindset. Like, you're like, yeah, that's me. You can literally carbon copy 100% without a doubt. And then you want to change that attitude or change that mindset by doing something different, which is possible. But before it gets there, there has to be some tweaking. So, as a business, if you want to appeal to your audiences, another statistic said that with an average, and I don't know if you knew this, but did you know with an average conversion of 40% and conversion rate of 40%, quizzes are one of the best ways to generate leads for your business. Why? Because you can pre-qualify your audience. If I want only people who are interested in ABC, then I'll need to ask you questions within ABC to pre-qualify you. If if I want to interview you and I want to give you a job, then I have to ask you some questions. Some may be technical questions, some might be personal questions, not so personal, but like, tell us about yourself, just things like that. So that you can hear the responses, and the way the person responds also gives you an idea of how they treat themselves or how they respect themselves. You know, you've heard this so many times. Even my mom has said this too. I've always grown up knowing this. Dress the way you want to be addressed. It's simple. There's no in between. It's black and white. It's binary code, zeros and ones. So if you're looking at the time you're spending with the people you're connecting with, it's different. So when you see the way people convert and they've answered a few questions, and now okay, this person has this problem, then it makes them feel like, okay, this is dope. Like this morning, I was in the shower thinking, I was like, this is a good idea. I was going to do a poll on, not a poll, but a quiz on what kind of shopper are you? That came to my mind this morning because people are different types of shoppers. People could be thrift shoppers, luxury shoppers, impulse shoppers. The list goes on and on and on. So when you start to know who your audience is and how they connect with you, do you know that these people like loyalty rewards? They like subscriptions, they like incentives. They don't like discounts. Like you get to know what they like and what they don't like. It just changes a whole thing completely as well. Yeah, this is a great topic. I love what we're talking about here. Tracy, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for joining. And then I'll also go to the chat after that.
Hey, Favor.
What's up?
Great. Yeah, hey, great to see you again. It's been a while. I just believe if you are trusting a poll or a questionnaire, um, you need an accountability partner. An accountability partner is where you need to start. Don't trust these random polls and questionnaires. No, no, it's so messy. You need someone who is not totally close to you, but understands you, or maybe has been where you are right now, and they can guide you. So I just love this conversation. And thank you, Austin, for pinging me in. Thank you. Thank you. I'm here. I'll be here. I know you're
Thank
all
you.
giggling. I'm giggling too.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you so much. Let me even ask you this for your business, because I know you're very busy in the morning when it comes to like flowers, delivery time, the sensitivity of everything. Have you ever thought about like trying to find out what kind of florist shopper someone is? Just based on your audience, based on like how you've interacted with them over the years.
Sorry, ask me the question again. My
Yeah, the
shoppers.
shoppers, like the people who order from you, like what kind of florist shoppers are they? Like what do they love? Because you know what people like more than others based on popularity or on demand, based on your demand and supply.
Oh, okay. Well, they either love my style or they don't. But in terms of timing of their shopping, it's so, sorry, fucking all over the place. So I get people shopping in the middle of the night. I rarely I have I would say, okay, let me think for a moment. I would say 25% of my regular clients um pre-order 48 hours ahead of time. Everyone else is a fucking mess. It's a total mess. It's last minute. It's after the deadline for same day delivery. It's all the things. And I just do my best to manage it as best as I can without like losing them or insulting them or all the things. But, this is a growth. I'm navigating this because online sales is very new to me, even though I have been in this industry for 28 years. But I did not have an online store until the pandemic hit in 2020. Fascinating, right? Very fascinating.
Wow. What made you want in 2020?
What?
What made you want to switch, pivot, and get a website in 2020?
We were in I had a website, but we were in lockdown. The pandemic hit, right? I
Mhm.
had a website, but I didn't have an online store.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You had like a
Yeah.
portfolio, but you didn't have an
Yeah.
e-commerce.
100%. This is a whole new world for me too. I also started my business pre cell phones, pre internet, pre social media. This for me is also a whole new world. Like it's fun and it's cool, but it's scary too for me. So, I'm navigating a whole new world. So I just love what you're doing, Favor. I love it.
Thank you, Tracy. No, this is so good, and I'm glad that we're all taking this in. Yeah, because I know it can be overwhelming when there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving parts. So, thinking about where to even launch your business, set up your business, I think it really depends on where people actively connect. Like if I sent you a poll, and I'm coming to these question because it's a very good question. If I sent you a poll and the poll was, where do you shop the most? If I gave you options like Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, Amazon website, which ones would you pick? Just put in the chat. And go ahead, Tracy. I want to hear.
The grocery store. I'm not an online shopper. I'm not. I shop local as much as I can. I'm that's who I am.
Huh. So if you shop, okay, so let's switch this up because I want everyone to be involved in this. Thank you for bringing that, Tracy. And I love the way the dynamics is going. Where would you like to shop? Like which grocery store would you like to shop? Carolyn says Trader Joe's. I love Trader Joe's. Yes. Tracy, if you do grocery shopping, where would you go?
Carload. Carload in the beaches, an independent small business.
Okay.
Mhm. I don't shop at big box stores. I don't.
Is there a reason why?
I am a small business owner. I prefer to support small business because I want people to support my small business.
I love it.
And I just love local.
I love that. I love that. That speaks a lot. Yeah, I just remember about the billboard ads we were talking about the other day when it comes to the like, telling somebody at the airport this brand welcomes you and it's a local business and they get to know about your business, they Google it, they get to connect with you, and then the rest is history. So I get what you're saying, and there's a lot of reciprocity. So that's really good. I love that, Tracy, as well. Okay, okay. Where would you guys shop? Put in the chat. I would love to know where your shopping is because it's also very good to look at this. Soda, what about you?
I do all my shopping online. I love the idea of shopping local, just like I love the idea of being vegan, but it just is not practical for me. So, yeah, unfortunately, I get everything online.
Okay. No, I love that. Some people shop for clothes online. I'm still kind of adjusting to that because in my head, I'm like, no, I can't do that. Like I can, but stressful. But some people do, I've tried it as well. It works, but I think it's the experience of touching it, wearing it, trying it on, looking at like the old school way. But these days, no one has time to be driving to go and try on clothes for 20 minutes unless you have a free day, but that's also a thing, it could be a therapeutic thing for you. So, shopping is also a great thing. It's a great experience because you get to connect with different things and see new things. So I love that. I love that. Okay. These question was, would polls be considered the same as quizzes? Hmm. If I do this, I'll put in three: polls, quizzes, and Austin got. Why did I have to read Austin's comment when I'm Austin, really? I've got a big butt. I can't shop for pants online. You got to come up and explain yourself because that is funny. I know what you mean because you have to shop correctly. Yeah, you got to know what you're shopping for. Sometimes some clothes just don't fit. I know exactly what you're saying. So D, there are polls, there are quizzes, and there are surveys. So polls, quizzes, and surveys are great, and you can mix them up. So I wouldn't say they're the same, but I would say with polls are more so like multiple choice, but
Polls
quizzes,
more like um, just finding out, they're more like collective, like um, how many people in my audience like a certain thing rather than, or maybe I'm wrong.
yeah, yeah. I like what you said with that explanation. Like, what do they like? Because if you do polls, then you get to know what they actually connect with. Like a very simple poll I did on Threads was POV. What do you drink when you wake up in the morning? I put water, soda, juice, I think, and coffee. And a lot of people said water. Some people said coffee. I don't think anyone said juice. Like, so it tells me what people like, what they don't like. And then I can now partner with the water brand. You see where I'm going with this? And then you see now lemon water. Now I know, okay, I can talk about lemons or I can talk about, you know, alkaline water, or I can go to Kangen water. I can go to different layers of water because now I know my audience wants to drink more water. So if you're drinking water, what kind of water are you drinking? Is it warm water? Is it cold water? Like it gets so deep with just the word water. So just from a poll. So I think a poll is great for discovery, but I think a quiz is great for, what's the word I'm looking for? I'll call it actualization. Like it's more like a way of redefining yourself, or explaining, because when you answer questions and then you get a result from those questions, it's like your credit score. Like you say and then you get the result, because that result is coming from a series of questions. So I think if you think of a poll as a singular question and a quiz as a series of questions, it might just have a different approach, because the one answer you get on the poll, that's the answer. You don't even need a result or an explanation for the poll, because the poll is more like a feedback loop. But the quiz is more so like, okay, it's feedback to you and it's also feedback to the guy who's asking the question. A survey, is also like a way of getting people involved in understanding what the value of the context is. Do you like this? Would you prefer text, phone call, FaceTime? Those questions start to get more specific, and then that's where you can connect with more people. So that was a really good question. Thanks for that, Dee. I hope that answered your question too. And I like what Austin said too about the quizzes and the reputation for opting in, because you just want to make sure that people are connecting with you. It's a real thing. If the connection is not made, then it's not going to be sustained. It may last for a moment, it may last for a weekend, it may last for an hour, but it may not last for a year, or it may not last for a decade. So those pieces of information helps, and I think a quiz is better than a poll, but a poll should be done individually. So if I was to split it up, I would do maybe a survey every quarter. I'll do a poll maybe every other week, depending on, because polls are fun. It's just in between, and then a quiz would be maybe like at the end of a month, because you're teaching them. So that quiz is more like, do you understand? Do you not understand? Some people are fast learners, some are slow learners, some people like to be auditory learners, some are kinesthetic learners. So we get to see all kinds of learning curves and disciplines. So it's just a great way to keep the audience entertained, engaged, and also retained as well. So that Tracy would like to say anything.
I love all of the things. I love polls. I love quizzes. I love surveys. All of them.
Love that. Tracy?
Oh, I was just going to say, no, I appreciate the polls and the quizzes as an introvert. But at the same time, I don't feel like I can always answer honestly and authentically, because it's like a strict answer. I Even though I'm an introvert, I do love listening to the conversations, and when I feel safe, I will pop in and I will speak up and I will answer. And I'm hoping that that adds to the conversation. And I don't know. I just feel very restricted when it comes to polls and questionnaires. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That's really good to also note, because I think when you start seeing what is important to you, then it also resonates with the people that you're connecting with, because you also want to have that similar attraction model where you feel like, okay, are these polls too much? Are these questions too much? Like for me now, these 5 questions are they're quite a lot. Now that I'm thinking about it, 5 questions is a lot. It's asking for someone's time, and that's a lot of time somebody could be going through, and they're like, 5 questions, damn, that's a lot. It feels like a lot of questions, and then you drop it down to 3, and then you drop it down to 1, and see what happens. Because when you start noticing that people actually want to answer a question, but they're like, oh man, do I have to think about this? Okay, no, I don't have to. Then it starts getting more familiar over time. And why I'm even bringing this up too is, when you think about the ads you're running as a business, these are the questions that you're going to have to ask. I know you're wondering what does this have to do with Meta and Pinterest ads for business. Businesses communicate. And when they're communicating with methods. And those methods are on platforms. So if I'm going to use Meta to run ads, then my ads have to make sense, because if I'm running ads, am I running a brand awareness campaign? Am I running a visit my profile campaign? Am I doing a catalog campaign, a leads campaign? And then in those sections, when you're using those creative mediums, there has to be some type of relationship that is going to build over time with you. So you have to think about, the factors that are building your system and where that is taking you long term. So those are some things to look out for as a business. So I appreciate that. Austin, I love your PTR. Let's talk about it. What are you thinking?
Yeah, no, I've enjoyed this conversation too. I just got my hands dry. I was doing some chores in the kitchen, so I realized I was putting the phone down just to chat, and so why not pop up finally? But initially, when I was thinking about the quiz thing, I really like the consumer psychology, kind of like the microeconomics aspect of what kind of causes someone to opt into a quiz or what value they receive from it. I think some of the quizzes I took years ago were just total garbage, or only benefited the quiz owner. And so yeah, I like what you said about creating the realization, or yeah, that kind of aha moment, right? um, but yeah, I don't have personally have a lot of experience with quizzes. I do enjoy taking some, but not all. I recently did do probably my first Instagram quiz ever, I think, which is my PTR. And I'm not really a car person or anything, but we've probably all seen Elon's Cybertruck. And this is a Hummer with a cab on it. And I asked everyone in the poll, is this the OG Cybertruck or is this a wannabe Cybertruck?
Mm, I'm not gonna answer that question. I don't know. That's a trick question. I think, Austin, I don't know, because the way it looks, you're right. There's something to, and I've also seen like Hummers, they've had that kind of shape to it, but I think the material is what makes Tesla have that different experience with Cybertruck. I mean, you probably see one at least once a week now, or maybe once every other week. So I don't know. That's a good question. So that, Tracy, are you thinking about that question, or you're like, I don't know.
I know nothing about Cybertrucks except they're hideous.
You see?
They really are. Yeah, this thing hurts my eyes a little bit less. The poll overwhelmingly favored that it was the OG Cybertruck. I think very few votes for the wannabe Cybertruck status, which I thought was interesting. But yeah, polls. There you go.
Polls win. But I like quizzes too. People don't like being quizzed. I feel like people they like quizzes, but they don't like to be quizzed. It's weird, but yeah, I don't know. It's just a funny reaction, but I like the way it's going, and it's very interesting to see. And it also helps more people get to know, like, what do you like, what don't you like? Because the moment you start sending more and more of those things, the more they realize, okay, this person actually wants me to connect to them. Because if you send a poll the first time and you expect everyone to respond back, that might not be. Just like if you send an email and you expect them to make a purchase, it's not going to happen. You have to probably send that poll maybe 7 times in 7 weeks to get like a really good result, or maybe use a quarter of a quarter cycle and use those 12 weeks, send out emails, attach your polls or your surveys or your questionnaires or quizzes, and then within those 12 months you get to see exactly what people are looking for, or in 12 weeks you get to know exactly what they're asking for, so that the rest of the time that you're spending is giving to them more than they ask for. So in that regard, if you're going to use quizzes or surveys or lead forms, when you're running ads as a business, you have to think about the platforms that you're using and the mentality. This is the major thing before we wrap this up. The mentality. of the people going on these platforms as a business is something that you have to think about. Because if somebody's mentality on Meta, Facebook, or Instagram is to just like, post, share, 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 they're not in buy, plan mode. So if you have an Instagram shop, let me ask, have you ever bought anything from Instagram shop, Facebook shop? Anyone in the room, put a one if you've ever bought from there. Go ahead, Soda. And I don't mean marketplace. I mean like a product, like a brand.
I bought a few things. My husband buys a lot of like gym stuff from Instagram.
Hmm. I like that. You see, that's very specific, gym stuff.
Yeah,
Instead
and
of
then I
going
buy
instead of
And Instagram
Amazon.
is
so yeah, it's like very specific stuff that I would get.
Yeah, I find that fascinating how some of the platforms have different strengths and their niches and areas. I don't buy products on Instagram quite like that, but I do opt into a lot of information or freebies or enter people's funnels. So that'd be me.
Okay, Tracy. I know Tracy is. I gotta go in there.
No, I really don't shop online. I'm so locally focused, and that's just my business model. So that's what I live in life. So, yeah.
I love that, Tracy. Thank you. Yeah, you see, everyone had a different answer to that. So I think the major thing to look out for is how people feel when they're on those platforms. Like I'm on Amazon, I'm going there because I know what I'm actually going to buy. I don't think people spend time on Amazon typing, or I'm looking for a vase, and then they just start scrolling away. They probably know what they're going for because they've seen it before. They put it on their wish list, or somebody recommended it to them, or they're now comparing products or comparing prices. But shopping, like actual shopping, it's different. So if people on Pinterest planning to purchase a product, then if your product is in the marketing mix within the message that they're reading, then that gives you a chance to connect. On Meta, if I was to run ads on Meta for businesses, I wouldn't run e-commerce ads. I would run brand awareness ads. I would run ads that will take you to my article. I'll run ads that will take you to my product guide or to my contact page, or I'll take you to my frequently asked questions. Now, I'll take you somewhere where you can read more, because that allows me to use the Facebook pixel or the Meta pixel in a better way, because I want to know what you're connecting with. Austin, what's up? Austin is like, you're looking at me, but I don't know if you're really seeing me.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I'm just reacting, to like you offering the article page or the product guide or the checklist. So yeah, definitely more of the funnel approach, which to me is no surprise.
Yeah, I would do it that way, because once I'm able to connect with you, then I can retarget that information and send you a 6-second video, and then that way you can purchase the product, or go join the email list. I would use Meta to just get leads, because Meta is great it's a great place. There are over 1 billion people that live on Meta, right? 1 billion users. So if you can get even 0.1% of that, and that's your audience, and you're gathering leads from those platforms, and then they're now purchasing through the emails you send, that's a better way of using your money on Meta than spending it on trying to make somebody to purchase a product. Unless you're an e-commerce store and you're sending them, they're great, but I would send them to your website and send them to a place where they can actually learn about that one product that they saw, like dynamic ads, so they can actually learn about it. So if there's a product for each of them, then each of them should have their own individual, you know, guide in a way. So, but it also depends on which one has more priority in that season. Like right now, I think today is the last day of summer from what I saw. So, summer is over, guys. From here now, we're going into a new season. So people are going to think differently. People are going to start wearing, turtlenecks, raincoats, jackets, sweaters, mufflers, ugly sweaters. Like the mood is changing from bikinis and and tops and shirts, and t-shirts. It's changing, but people are still going to wear t-shirts indoors. People are still going to wear what they want to wear, but it's not going to be the everyday wear, right? Yeah, Halloween is coming too, right? Austin, thank you for that. People are going to be like, if you go to the store now, look at all the candy. You're just seeing orange everywhere, right? Saturday morning was the start of fall. Okay, that's for you. Okay. Yeah, in Canada, the times are different. So I'm glad you mentioned it because I think it's Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. That's a very interesting one, Tracy. Thanks for that insight. Yeah, my brother's in Toronto, so when he tells me about like, oh, they have Thanksgiving in I think October, and then we have it in November. So it's always like trying to get used to the whole thing. But I love it because it shows that people are in that holiday mood, they're in the holiday spirit. People all over the world are also in that space, in that mindset. So when people are in that mindset of the year is ending, your product should feel like, I need to connect with you before the year ends so that next year you can be part of the connections. So yeah, it was the start of 4 years. You guys are funny. It's so true. No, I love it. I love it because I think it's time to also shift, see where we can also connect and build. I'm sure this is, I have such a hard time shopping small local, but I want to. I like shopping small and local too, because I actually love to know what their stories are, why they started their businesses, what is the driving factor, because those are the things that will make the big businesses we see today were first small. So never despite anyone's business, because you never know, that business could just end up on Good Morning America. It could end up on Forbes. It could end up on Times. It could end up anywhere. So that's what I see. But eventually, like if somebody wants to remain that way, they can also look at those metrics too. So I'm glad we're able to have this SEO Sunday. If you're running an ad on Pinterest, last thing I'll say is run ads on Pinterest for business by quizzing them, right? By showing them your products, taking them to your brand awareness. Pinterest is a whole funnel from targeting people that have never met you to retargeting people who have connected with you. So if you're able to build that and have an affinity, then you start getting more and more people who like what you like. And then you start realizing that your conversions are higher, not because of the product, but because of the color, the font, the message, the style, the emojis, the emails. Those are the things that will make people feel like, okay, this brand is actually talking to me. And it takes time. And once that time is established into something that's actualized, then more people can actually connect with you. And that could be a great way for you to connect the dots. So this has been great, y'all. Thanks for coming to the SEO Sunday room. I've been doing this more often now, and I have created a schedule for this week, by the way. So I'm going to say this now. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. Central, we're going to talk about backlinks. What are backlinks and why are they important? On Tuesday, we're going to talk about web pages versus social media pages versus landing pages at 1 p.m. Central. On Wednesday, we're going to talk about LinkedIn company profile, how to optimize pages for SEO at 8 a.m. Central. And then on Thursday, our website's relevant for 2025. How do I secure my data or data? That's September 26th. That's a Thursday, I think, 8 a.m. And then on Friday, yeah, that's Thursday. Then Friday is social media marketing or social marketing versus email marketing versus billboard marketing. So we have a very packed week, a very packed week. So I'm excited about that. Which one out of those topics are you looking forward to? Anyone can speak. So that Tracy, Austin, anyone in the chat too.
All of them. I do really want to get better with Pinterest because that's where a lot of my audience is and understanding that.
Especially right now, AI images are a thing. So if you, it's a big thing. If you use AI images in your copy and I know you don't like it because you paint and you draw and you're authentic. I know. But if you if you have a mixture of AI and your original content, that could,
I try not.
damn.
No, 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 not with my audience.
She gave it a big X, like, Favor, stop. This is what you just did. Like, I was looking at your screen. It's like, Favor, please. Thank you. Every audience has their own thing. And I know what you're saying. Like, it's big. Like, even Tracy wouldn't want to have AI flowers. That's not gonna fly. So I think the
It'd be like Tracy advertising something on Amazon.
you see.
That part.
That's what I'm talking about. So I'm glad we're talking about it now because we have to know like what our industries want and what they don't want. So it just helps us long term. Hey, Mr. McMillan, thanks for joining today. We'd love to hear from you. Question, contribution. The floor is yours.
Howdy, howdy, everybody. You guys got me up here to say do not discount the power of AI, especially the coupled with Clubhouse. Uh, if you guys don't know, one of the biggest songs, BBL Drizzy, was made by a Clubhouse alum, uh, pretty much with AI. So you can make money with it. He got cited in like People or Time magazine or one of the big magazines, and he was on like the Video Music Awards as well. So don't discount AI and what you can do with it. Uh, I know of at least three other different projects that also have come from Clubhouse and AI that are really making strides. So don't discount.
Ooh. Soda, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Oh, I know lots of people who have been very successful with AI. I have no doubt about the problem. It just doesn't work with my brand, if that makes sense.
Well, we're waiting for you to use AI and be the
Oh,
next Clubhouse standout. We need you.
I was an OG AI bro years ago. I beta tested Dolly. I beta tested Midjourney. I beta tested Stable Diffusion. I Firefly was on top of all that, and it was just like it just turned so messy that I am just now like scarred from that whole I had 35,000 followers, like, which is, compared to others, that's not a lot, but for me it's like a lot more than I have with my non-AI stuff. So um but yeah, I'm just like had such a bad experience with all of that that I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna stay away from it. But power to the
I
people
love
who
that.
use it. That's
Yeah, it's people are treading lightly. Some people are nose diving. Like everyone is going in one way or the other. But it's also good to see how people are using it because in 5 to 10 years from now, we won't be using AI the way we're using it now. Like people might just be using Alexa and then they'll find a result that comes from an AI overview or through Apple Intelligence that leads to a page or something that you talk about within context of the message that they're looking for. So yeah, a lot can be happening. So we can't really despise it right now. We just have to embrace it, enhance it, and also think about ways we can innovate and save time at the same time. So this has been a great room. We've been here for a great amount of time, and it's a weekend. It's a Sunday especially. So I want to make sure you guys can get back, enjoy your dinner, spend time with the fam, plan for the week. And we're gonna be here bright and early tomorrow. I know we'll be here, later in the day. I was thinking about doing like early in the morning, but I said I've had a Saturday and Sunday room, so I know people like to listen to the replays. So I want to give them that spill into the day so that by 3 p.m. we can talk about something and make it happen. So thanks again, Soda, Tracy, Austin, Mr. McMillan. Thanks again for coming today. Hidden, appreciate you, JD, as well as Oswald. Thanks for being here. And Carolyn, get that ticket off you, Carolyn. Come and cash in your ticket here in the marketing club so you can join us. You're more than welcome to be part of the room because we don't like those pink tickets. I feel like we got to get you in here because it's just growing. We're at 349.6K members in here. So we're slowly creeping on 350. I know before the end of the year, this house is going to be 350,000 members. So Yeah, Yusuf too. Please get into the room so you don't miss out on all our rooms that we have. We have a full schedule. So once you click on the marketing club and you join, yeah, what ticket? The pink ticket. Like you have a pink ticket on your profile, that means you haven't joined the house yet. So once you hit the marketing club, you will be able to be part of it. And I'm sure you probably have, because you're in the room. Because once you do it in the room, you have to leave and come back. But that's a lot. So if you've signed in, then you won't have that on you in the next room. Thank you so much again for being here. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, connect with me too. And the link up top is going to let you know about the workshops we're going to be having. And they're going to be scheduled out. I'm planning to have scheduled out workshops so that you can actually plan in advance, pre order, get all your things in a row, and just get started the right way. So I'm so excited about it and I can't wait to connect with y'all. So thanks again for being here. God bless you all. Have a wonderful evening. And I'm going to see you guys tomorrow.